Governments deny it. Militaries deny it. Even the mainstream media denies it. But they are here and they've been here for a very long time. The Mutual UFO Network has been on the front lines uncovering the truth since 1969. And now we're sharing that truth with you. Welcome to MUFON What's Up with your hosts, Katie Paige, Shane Hurd, and Tara Diulus. Exclusively on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. Wondering what's up? So are we.
What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and you are listening to MUFON What's Up on KGRADB.com. I hope you go to their website and check out all their great content. We are sponsored and endorsed by MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, always asking that all-important question, are we alone in the universe? We have a great guest for you tonight. We have Jason Guillemette. He is here. He runs UAP Studies podcast. Awesome friend. I've known him for a couple years now, and I'm anxious to get him on the show here in a little bit. First, I'd like to bring in my co-host, Tara Diulus. You can see Tara right here on live stream, Sky Tour live stream on KGRA. How you doing, Tara?
Hi, Katie. Easy for you to say. Sky Tour Radio, Sky Tour live stream. Yep, on KGRA
with Mark D'Antonio.
That's right. Hi.
All things astronomy. I'm doing great. Tomorrow's Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy
So
Valentine's
I made a
Day.
fun little thing for the two of us to wish all our listeners out there a happy Valentine's Day. Tara's like, I'm ready to go, already smiley, and I'm looking a little hesitant, like, I'm not sure about this. So I want to wish all our listeners a happy Valentine's Day. And I also want to talk about a couple of conferences coming up. We have Contact in the Desert coming up here end of May 30th through June 3rd. And you can find more information about Contact in the Desert at contactinthedesert.com. And also the big MUFON Symposium in Texas this year. So you can go to MUFONsymposium.com to learn more about the big symposium out there in Texas. So those are going to be some fun events.
Great.
Always so many of those in the spring or summer, spring and summer.
Well, that's the time people have off. Yep.
Right. Yep. So true. So what do you have to kick us off tonight, Tara?
Well, hey, Katie, watch me pull a human out of a hat.
Oh, no.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! That's great.
Today's meme shows us 25 years into the AI revolution. Don't you know, you just see all the AI, the robots sitting around, watch me pull this human, and that guy's like in there.
So what you're saying is we're like rabbits.
Probably. And I love bunnies. I have some of my own. So
how many bunnies do you have?
Just one. I have a little Holland Lop, and he did the little tiny thing, sweet as can be. So sweet too. I have
to come over and meet all your animals sometimes. Next time I'm in Arizona, I'm doing that.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that, Katie. So it'll be fun. So, well, I just wanted to show you also today what I found on Amazon. There's some really colorful and charming portraits of alien couples. This is Vaxin and Liren. These images are actually puzzles created by a company named Cross and Glory. Yep, isn't that cool? All of their puzzles are extremely vibrant, and they have stellar artwork. And so isn't that just amazing? So you just dive headlong into a fascinating universe with these things. And there we are with Xantera and Nakara, I guess. That is Nimra and Dantar, I think. These are all 1,000-piece puzzles.
And now's the time of year to do puzzles. Like,
You're
wintertime, you're indoors. I mean, I'm snowed in a lot up here. So, and our guest, Jason, he's in Canada. They get snowed in.
Oh, yeah.
Do some puzzles.
I know. Well, the artwork is striking. All the Cross and Glory puzzles are.
Oh, they're so fishy-like, some of these.
Some of them are. That's Zoran and Etrex. And the puzzles are a great way to challenge your brain. It's really good. And then I think up next we have Mira and Zarek. I love just the colors, and the colors and patterns will really test your skills at puzzling, right? And lastly,
especially that like plain background,
I
That's when a puzzle gets
know.
hard. There's nothing to match the pieces to. So frustrating.
It's challenging. It's good for your brain.
Oh, look at
Um,
that. It's like Medusa.
that's Silas and Early, I guess. Early, aren't they a lovely couple?
Yes,
So
very
puz-
nice.
puzzling can provide hours of fun for yourself or for the family. But they're not just puzzles; these are portals into another world. I mean, I just can imagine getting lost in my imagination looking at all these pictures. So, but you can find these and more beautiful cross and glory puzzles and games on where else but Amazon. So
They should
check
make
them out.
pictures or artwork of those too, because those would be so cool to frame because they are so colorful and vibrant.
hmm
I would
They
love
are,
those.
and they have other subjects other than just aliens. I just showed you those, but they have a variety of things. So I'm sure you could find something you like. It's just beautiful. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
In
So
celebration of Valentine's Day, all those wonderful alien fish couples. Maybe they look like that because, I think, there might be some truth to them hiding out under our seas and maybe through
hmm
the millennia, they're growing gills and such. I mean, we do have aliens with suction cups on their fingers and all these fun little things.
yep, and we have a
So
lot of people born with the webbing
the
between their
web,
fingers
yeah,
and toes, and you never
it's
know.
true. You
You
never
never
know.
know. So
All right.
so part of our lost DNA, I guess. So.
Yeah. So do you
Mhm.
have a Mars case to share with us tonight?
I do have a Mars case.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let me get myself together. So this file contains information about several cases that might possibly be related. The first sighting occurred over the busy airport outside Bahia Blanca, Argentina. And there's Argentina there. On July 22nd, 68 at 2 p.m., astonished viewers on the ground saw a craft circle the field at an altitude of only 200 feet, apparently
What?
apparently preparing to land. So this is the airport, and that the people were outside, and witnesses were able to study the object with binoculars and could find no markings or insignia except for the 3 small black squares and 1 larger one. So all the witnesses agreed that its delta wings seemed far too short to support a craft this size. So what's
Huh.
interesting about these cases is that the fundamental rule of aerodynamics is that the shorter an airplane's wings are in comparison to its overall size, the faster it must go to maintain lift, right?
Hmm.
So this had short wings. So the second case involves a rancher in Calgary, Canada, who in October of 65 saw a small airplane parked on the ground in his pasture. That's Calgary there. Been there, it's beautiful. It was silver gray in color and it had swept back wings. So
Hmm.
he rode his horse over to the craft and he was able to cautiously examine it.
Can you imagine? Dun,
No.
dun, dun, like you're on your horse, gonna go over to the craft. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, sorry. I have this picture in my mind.
So it's
Oh
in
my
Calgary.
gosh.
So during the Calgary Stampede, they're all running over to the UFO craft right on their horses. Oh my gosh. So the exterior surface was like a waffle and it had a
Oh,
transparent plastic-like dome cockpit. There were no visible motors, propellers, or jets. No, hold off, Chanel. That's the next one, please. Yeah. So there were no identifying marks, but there was no identifying marks of any sort. So apparently it was built for small pilots. So if you were to catch a glimpse of this object passing overhead, you probably wouldn't give it a second glance.
hmm.
So the witness in that case submitted a lie detector test and was examined by trained psychologists. So that's interesting.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So the third case mentioned was a sighting in July of 1968. Here we go, Chanel, where a woman and her daughter were driving in St. Louis, Missouri, and it was around 9 p.m. So that was them driving. And then the object came from behind them, low, slow as a helicopter, but it was too large to be a plane. It had no wings or, no blinking lights, only a row of rectangular lighted windows that went around, something like the body of a big plane.
Right. The first thought I had was like a blimp.
Yes, and they thought it was a blimp, but there was nothing in the undercarriage of it, and there were no
Okay.
lights of anything. So there was nothing they could see underneath, and there was nothing, but they couldn't see the edges of this.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just got to
So
throw it there, always the debunker.
Yeah, no, but that's a good thing. You have to look at everything.
Yeah.
So as it passed overhead, they never could make out the shape clearly because it was not lit. But suddenly it changed its angle and approach and started approaching a nearby radio transmission tower. And on approach to that, it just disappeared, like blinked
Just
out,
blink
disappeared.
out.
Didn't shoot off anywhere, just
Something that
disappeared.
large just blinked out.
So
Wow.
isn't that strange? It didn't it wasn't a balloon that popped and went woo woo woo. So very,
that
very
was in
strange.
Arizona. That was in Arizona.
This one was in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, St. Louis, Missouri. Okay.
So this next one occurred also in St. Louis, Missouri. A woman and her mother were stopped at a red light. This happened on July 3rd, 1970, 2 years later. A red light, when they observed what they first thought was a helicopter, same as before, but it was too small. And there was an outline of a jagged white light off to the front of the craft. So you can see that there to the left. The entire craft, except the tail, glowed softly pink in a cross-hatched woven straw or waffle effect. There's that waffle again. There was a small, stubby, rectangular wing supported by two struts. You can kind of see that near the top. It was too short to support a plane in flight. So see how short those wings are? Right. So the craft turned, so only its front jagged light was seen. And that's the image that was looking head on, and they could see two tiny silhouettes struggling to maintain the craft's equilibrium in what they said was a sudden wind. And then it shot sideways at high speed into the southwest. So strange.
That is, I mean, again, when you look at that drawing, well, first of all, I'm thinking ice cream sounds really good because I eat ice cream cone. I'm thinking, but after that thought went away, I'm thinking, okay, next thought is it kind of looks like a man-made homemade glider or something like that.
Yes.
But then you're talking about this jagged edge and it shoots off at high speed, so that kind of negates that. I don't know, so unusual.
It's weird. Well, all four cases reflect objects with small or no wings. Yeah, no identifying marks, and they either disappeared or shot away at high speed. And what's also interesting is that the two cases reference that unique waffle texture exterior of the craft. So
that definitely is so cool that you found all these cases that have this waffle thing. I had not heard that before, really.
No, I don't know. And you make, what is it? And they were all within just a couple of years of each other. So they might be related, but definitely worth more investigation. And go to MUFON.com, get your library card, and start investigating all those cases that they have available now.
Right. We need all sorts of people out there going into the archives, getting your library card for this historical data, or going and visiting David Marler's place. And I think that's the important work, like finding all these common cases that have things in common, like UFOs with pink lights, or UFOs with waffles, or abduction reports of aliens eating pancakes. There's like three of those that I know of. Yes. It happens. And I think that's just an important part of this field, that we like look at all those cases that have commonalities, and having the Mars files and now having that available for everybody to go in and kind of pick your passion, right? Everybody has their own individual interests. And I just think that's just an important part of this field. So I hope people get more active. It's one thing to sit and listen to all of us, but get out there and do some digging, Even
if you're just reading them for fun, it's interesting, and you might come across something that rings a bell to you or just sparks your interest and may take you on a journey you never thought you'd go to. A lot of people in this field just come into it, and then we kind of take a different turn, and look where we are now. So
I know. And that's just it. I sometimes get overwhelmed, with different things going on in my life in this field. And I'm like, how did I get here? So be careful, because it could start very innocently. I'm like, I'm just going to try and find out what was going on that rant. And then all of a sudden you're like, what's going on now? So it could take you places you just don't even expect. And it takes you down these rabbit holes. And as a matter of fact, our guest tonight, Jason, I bet you that's what happened to him. And we're going to find out. Do we have anything else we need to share? Or can we go?
No, I think we're good. We're looking forward to him. So
all right. All right. Hold on. Let me read his bio.
Hold on.
Okay. Jason Guillemette is steadily becoming a renowned figure in the realm of unidentified aerial phenomena studies. Guillemette's journey began at the age of 13 when a life-altering event left an incredible mark on his consciousness. On that fateful September 1994 evening, as he and his twin brother cycled home under the evening sky, their ordinary lives were illuminated by an extraordinary encounter. Bathed in an intense red light that appeared from above, they came face to face with an otherworldly phenomenon. An oblong school bus-sized spacecraft hovered silently 80 feet above them. Holy smokes! Casting an intense crimson glow upon them. This event would forever ignite Guillemette's passion for the unexplained and launch him into the intriguing world of UAPs and UFOs. Exactly what I was talking about here. Jason's relentless pursuit of knowledge and truth led him to embark on a lifelong journey of exploration. He delved into the depths of UAP and UFO research. I really like and appreciate how he uses both terms. You know, it's always such a hot debate, UFO, UAP. We'll ask him about that. Immersing himself in books, documentaries, obscure websites, and online forums. With unwavering determination, he sought to uncover the hidden truths and mysteries surrounding these extraordinary phenomena. In his role as the creator and host of the highly acclaimed UAP Studies podcast, Jason has provided a platform for experts, scientists, military personnel, reporters, investigators, and researchers from all corners of the globe. His podcast has become a beacon for those who dare to challenge the boundaries of conventional wisdom, inviting the best minds to share their insights and knowledge. Please welcome to the show, Jason Guillemette. Jason, how you doing?
Good. You know what? I had ChatGPT help me with that intro, and you read it out loud. It sounded really good, but I was like, I cannot take credit. I cannot take credit for that at all. That was awesome. Yeah, well done. Well done. I appreciate it.
Well done in all the research and work you've done. I mean, obviously, I want to jump right out of the gate with that incredible encounter with you and your twin brother.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, you could tell me the location. 1994. This is in Canada, I'm assuming.
It is. But there's been recent new discoveries on my part and my family that I found quite interesting.
Oh, awesome.
Tell us.
And you hear it here first.
Exactly. The same location that my twin brother and I had our sighting, our close encounter in 1960. I forgot maybe 66. Anyways, my mom is maybe about 9 years old, and it's only 20 minutes away from the same sighting where Bruce and I would have ours 30 somewhat years later.
Oh, that's
but she was on the lake with her grandfather. It's 5 a.m. The sun hadn't risen yet. They had just cast their fishing line into the water, and all of a sudden they get hit by this intense red light, and above them is just an intense light. They could barely make out if there's a shape. And Grandpa panics and he tries to start the boat, but of course the boat won't start. And then there's a blip and she doesn't remember what happened, but the sun's up a little bit higher. The light's still above them, and both her and her grandfather are just looking at each other on the boat. And they were sort of dazed and confused. And she looks up and this thing just goes, takes off. Now, my mother's never told me that story before until maybe about a year ago. Wow. And the only reason she did is because I do what I do.
Okay, I was going to say, what I guess that would make her tell you, but wow, that's...
Yeah, but she kept, she said that she told my dad laughed at her. She wasn't able to tell anybody. And so she asked Grandpa before he died about that event. He said, yeah, that's not the first time I've seen them. And my guess is Grandpa was somebody that they had an interest in. My mom just happened to be there. But then my twin brother and I have had a couple of incidences together.
Well, wait, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before you get into you and your brothers, I kind of want to go back to your grandfather for a minute.
Yeah.
Why might you think they would be interested in your grandfather? Yeah. Did he have a military background? What did he do?
No.
Do you know?
My grandfather worked in the mines, but he was, they fought during, this is weird, but at the mines, during their breaks, they would take off their shirt and they would go and they would fight, for extra money, extra cash. And he was the number one fighter at that place. He was so tough that his brothers once got him completely drunk, completely hammered. And the goal was when they walked home, they were going to jump him and finally be able to kick his butt because they never were able to.
Nice
Now he
brothers.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly. But it's like the 1940s or 50s, whatever. So he wakes up and he's got a black eye. So he's like, oh, my brothers need to answer to this. He opens the door in the morning and both of them are black and blue. Their nose is broken. He still beat the crap out of them.
Oh, hilarious.
So he was one of those tough guys. But the thing is, and I try to think about it now, knowing who he was a little bit, that would have scared the crap out of him because that's something that's not normal. And he would have known that. He could handle a man, you know what I mean? Just fine. No threats there. But that's a completely different story. And even though my mom told me that, and I just keep thinking, how many people out there have similar stories that they never told? Right? We're talking in the millions, like across the globe, right? So yeah, it's fascinating.
That's a really good point. And maybe that's why ET was interested in your grandfather, because they're like, man, that guy's tough. He's mining our minerals that we need. I mean, who knows?
Calvin
but you
Parker,
do know, all of us know it runs in families. It tends to.
Yeah. Well, Calvin Parker was very similar to my grandfather, right? Calvin Parker is the only person that I know, abductee, that punched an alien. He's the only one that I know. Like that takes guts, right?
And maybe your grandfather did too. We just don't know, or he doesn't remember. I mean,
don't know. I don't know.
I like to think
it's scary. Yeah. But I mean, if grandpa had seen one, my mom's seen one, my brother and I've seen one, like obviously it runs, like there's no way, like what are the odds of us all having these encounters, really close encounters, like where something's above our heads? It makes no sense.
Right.
And Katie, you scared the crap out of me last time you were on my podcast. Okay. You don't remember this, but I do. Okay. It got burnt in my memory. I told you this story about my brother and I, and you asked me, well, there's any missing time. We were at the end of our podcast. You were about to leave because your friend's coming over. And I said, you asked me if there was any missing time. I said, well, no, I don't really think so. You said, well, do you ever have any dreams of abductions? I said, of course I do. Like, look at the field that I work in. You're like, yeah, you were probably abducted. I got to go. And you logged off. You just logged off. And I'm like, what?
That's hilarious.
Have fun with that.
Who does that?
I do.
The whole rest of my afternoon,
That's
I'm like,
funny.
what did she mean?
That's hilarious.
Funny.
Okay, okay.
That's
Let's
a
start at the
cliffhanger
beginning now.
for you.
We're all gonna figure it out here tonight. Okay, from the top. So, what happened to your brother and you?
Oh, well, here's the thing. When we were little, we moved out to BC and Quebec all the time. And it wasn't because my parents were in the military. They just were poor and they kept running away from the bills. So they thought it was easier to move in between provinces.
I can relate.
Don't know why. It's not the province over.
Mail.
It's the deal.
Go past the mailbox really fast. Don't want to see this today.
Yeah. You don't even have time to remember your address. You know, you're going to move in a few days anyways. So we moved out here and it was really weird when we moved to this house in it was a farm area. And we would always see like this black disc off at a distance, just hovering. And we always thought it was so weird. This is 1986, 87, maybe.
Okay.
No, I'm lying. 88, because we moved out here in 87. Okay, so it was 88. But we could always see this black disc. We were always wondering what it was doing because it would stay there for like an hour and not move. And I thought maybe it was a remote control helicopter. Like you try to reason things out when you're a kid.
Sure.
So we kept seeing it over a period of a month or two. And then one day my older brother yells, guys, come and see it. It's right here. It was 3 houses down, just hovering above a house. Wow. So again, my brother told me this, my older brother, because I phased out that memory. He goes, dude, yeah, we saw them there. And not even a few years later, my brother and I also end up on another farm and there's a dilapidated barn. And behind the barn, there's a big field that's not really cut. No, the grass has been overgrown and stuff like that. But we're playing in a field and there's a round thing above us. All we could see is just a black circle. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So we run across the field. It would follow us across the field, like almost like it was playing with us. We'd cross again and it'd follow us. And then we got scared and because it stayed above us and then went and just took off. Never made a sound, just took off towards the other town at the other end. And we freaked out. We ran home. So those were the 2 incidences in BC. Then we moved to Cadillac, Quebec, which is listen, the town is so small that if you leave town to go get groceries, they have to change the population sign because it's that small, right? But it's a mining town. So
Right.
when my brother and I are coming home, it's a late September. I'm thinking mid-September, late September. This is the same year, same month as the aerial school phenomenon took place. So we're almost home, and we cut across. There's a skating rink, and it's just a whole gravel field, but there's no lights or anything. It's just dark. And then we see the road of mobile homes where we lived, maybe about 200, 300 feet away. And I'm being doubled on the bike because we're poor, so we may do with what we had. We had one bike. We're twins. You make do. So
all you need.
Did you have the banana seat?
Nope.
So,
No,
no,
you're
it
on
was
the
straight
handlebars. I did.
bolt straight up the butt. Like it just you would sit on the gears. Like it was uncomfortable. Like a whole day's out. Like you would feel it at the end of the day. But all of a sudden we get hit with this intense red light. Now keep in mind we're in a dark area at this point. And it's so bright that we can't look up. We have to look down. And I can't even squint my eyes open looking down to see what it is. It's that bright. But eventually my eyes adjusted, and Bruce had stopped the bike at that point. Every rock around me, the hair on my arms, everything was lit up red, bright red, as if my vision had just changed to red. And initially your thoughts, your mind processes things very, very fast. It tries to reason it out. For some reason, I thought it was a transformer on top of a telephone pole that had blown up, because if you ever seen those things blow up, they'll light up the night sky. But it wasn't. When we looked up, we're directly above our heads, about 80 feet, is this buzz-shaped size. I would say it's like 54 feet or more, but it not 54, a little bit smaller than that. I'm sorry. Bus size, school bus size. That sits 54 people is what I meant to say. But it was just, it was just hovering above us at 80 feet, cutting this perfect red light on my brother and I. And there was no light bleed. Like if you put flashlight on the ground, you'll have your main spot, and around it, you'll have light bleed. This did not have that. It was perfectly cut.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. And we just looked at it and just the underneath it. And it looked like the light came from the actual craft. There was no spotlight. It came from the craft, was generating the light. Cool. And then it just silently flew away from us. Never heard a sound at that close of a range. It went above the row of mobile homes, and it's still shining light. It turned, followed the row of houses, shining the light on every house, as if it's scanning the houses and the land and everything around it. And then it disappeared over the treetops, lighting every branch, every tree trunk on its way out. And I just remember distinctly thinking, remember this, you need to remember this. Just, I focused on that, and I think that's why I remember it. But the odd thing is that we don't remember what happened after that. We don't remember telling our parents. Mm-hmm. We don't remember ever talking about it until maybe about 12 years ago. And when I mentioned it to Bruce, I thought I was opening up to him, because I thought it was a friend of mine that was with me. I had totally forgotten it was him. So I'm like, hey, I had like this incident and there was a red light. And he's like, yeah, you idiot. It was me. I was the one driving the bike. All right. Guess I was wrong. Some of my memories a little askew, but that was an amazing thing.
It's interesting, Jason, that you said that it's bus size. That one Mars case that I was talking about earlier, the one of the ones in St. Louis, when they looked up, they said it wasn't a blimp, but it was the size of a bus. I failed to mention that, and it looked like a bus because it had those rows of windows along the outer edges of it. So kind of interesting. That was in '68, so that's kind of around that period.
Well, even the one they shot down in Alaska is just now coming out that it was cylindrical shaped, maybe the size of a car, but these shapes are very common. It's not just the orbs that we're dealing with, where it's like a cigar shaped. I saw one up close, so I know they're there. Cool. But yeah, that's weird. It's like, why that specific shape? And throughout the ages, I mean, UFOs keep changing. We have discs. We have almost look like a boomerang. Then you got, so it's either different species or they have different brands, like Ford, Chevrolet of UFOs.
Trucks, vans,
exactly. Yeah.
We have different
don't go
stuff.
to the minivan. Don't go to the minivan.
And what's interesting, something we have in common too, my grandfather back in Wisconsin over Lake Como in the early 60s had a sighting of oblong shaped craft over the lake in Lake Como. That was investigated by J. Allen Hynek, and I'm still adamantly trying to find that case because it would be just so cool to have for family history.
That'd be
But
cool.
again, yeah, there we have a grandfather, and then my mother, my father, my sister, and I witnessed the same oblong shaped craft going from, Wisconsin to our home in Illinois, in Richmond, Virginia. And she said we pulled over the old 66 Buick, and I was just a little baby at the time, I was born in 66. So that was probably 66, 67, 68 in those years in the little seat. And she said I was like catatonic after that. You're like mesmerized by the lines in the middle of the road where they're like shaking me, like, Katie, snap out of it. But same kind of thing. Oblong shaped craft. Do you, I mean, so Canada in general, and I just correct me if I am wrong here, but recently I heard that the population of California, the state of California, is actually larger than the whole population of all of Canada.
With
Is that about
33
right?
million is what we have in Canada. 33 million.
What do we have in California? Somebody should look that up really quick.
Well,
Pop
with
it
the
in
immigrants
chat.
moving in now, I don't know. Yeah, probably a lot more than you thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
documented or not.
So my point being is that it's pretty sparsely populated, right? There's so much open country and lakes and trees and rivers and beautiful. I've never been to Canada. It's on my bucket list of to-do
Yeah,
list.
you got to. It's beautiful.
I've got to get to Canada, but I'm thinking that what a place for ET to hide, and like you said, mining, maybe if they're coming down to mine, and what the question I have for you, if it felt like they were scanning this row of homes, what, in your opinion, first of all, do you think they're looking for specific types of people? And if so, what kind of types of people?
Okay, here's the thing that's really weird. I have never read, heard, or even heard mention of a psychopath or sociopath being an abductee. Ever.
Huh?
Yeah. So people that are such, and I'm not saying mental illness, like you could be bipolar or have schizophrenia and be an abductee. That's fine because it's not based on that. But it's based on the person's capabilities of compassion, ability for art. So usually it's artistic people very open-minded. I used to talk to myself all the time as a kid, and that was weird because I had a twin. I should talk to him, but I didn't. I paint, I draw, I read, and so everybody that is in that line that has that sort of mindset that is open, creative, it's like you have an open source, and somehow those are the people they target. And like I said, like you have people from different walks of life, but they all have similar traits in common. Animals love them. They love animals. They're compassionate. They feel other people's emotions. But a lot of people aren't like that. That's very rare percentage of people. But those are the people that are saying, look, I'm being taken. Now, I was talking to Tracy Dolan recently with Richard Dolan. She mentioned, well, it might be related to the right brain, left brain. Because if you're left brain, you cannot fathom the idea of extraterrestrials or different experiences that happen to you. So you would completely dismiss it. Your brain cannot, even if that happened to you, you cannot remember it. But if you're right brain, you're creative, you're open, you will remember those visuals because you are visual. This is how you interpret things and you're open to it. So you will remember these experiences. And I thought, well, that's a different take on it. I never thought of that. But
that would help to explain too why we hear so many musicians, actors, artists that have these connections to this other realm, whatever it may be.
Your MUFON symposium, everybody there's an artist or a musician of some sort. Like everybody I talk to at MUFON does something. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's some thought. A lot of these people that have these sensitivities, a lot of that is developed by trauma in their past. And, maybe it's some kind of skill set that they use perhaps to get through some of these instances. When you see a craft with a light, that's not easy for people to comprehend. And it makes us maybe disassociate and become creative or something.
Well, there's what we do to ourselves psychologically and then what they do to us. And I think that combo is deadly and it will let anybody forget. And you mentioned that, like trauma. Yes, absolutely. Like when I was a kid, there was trauma. I was poor, dirt poor. I mean, I like to joke around that homeless people used to give us change, so, we're that kind of poor, but it's true. And if you
I
grow
love
up,
it.
Somebody needed to give you guys an extra bike.
somebody's like,
I know.
buy yourself something to eat. I'm making me feel bad. But it's true. If there's different things. The other thing is being an empath is you grew up in a house with somebody who was very volatile, whether it's your mother or your father. My father was very volatile. So I had to watch every single move. Yeah. You have to watch every single move twitch in their faces to know what mood they're in. And my father was like very mentally ill, but not on medication. He was borderline, which is horrible to live with. But he would go from laughing to grabbing the table to flipping it over with all the dinner on top. Like you can never know, right?
Yep.
But you learn to read people, their mannerisms. Like if you're at a party and there's that one person that's not having a good time, your whole night will be focused on that person because that person is a threat in a room. That person's not enjoying themselves.
That's so true.
Yeah, but those
and
are
you're
traits,
right. I grew up with an alcoholic father. Rest in peace, Dad. But same thing. You didn't know what Dad was coming through that door. You don't leave this table until you finish everything on that plate. And hiding food around the edge, and then they lift the plate and why is there a ring of food on the table? Or you
just
I gotta go to the bathroom and throw it in the toilet. All sorts of tricks. But I totally get what you're saying, and you do get real sensitive to very subtle things, and I do believe that does play a role. Because I've heard that over and over. But
that's something that you develop and that you're forced to develop.
It's and you don't know you're developing it.
No, it's survival.
Survival.
But there's aspect to our beings that we need to understand that there's probably more than just five senses. There probably is that sixth sense, and I do think that your energy goes past your body. So if when somebody comes up to you and you feel just that person's up to no good, they're smiling. Like serial killers, they'll do that until you're in the van, right? But if you feel that energy, there's a reason you're feeling it.
Yeah,
like that's your sixth sense telling you I pick up on something that your other cues or your other visuals aren't picking up, and that's super important. And I think that has something to do with this phenomenon as well.
Yeah, that's a question I have for you. Speaking of that, because you're right, the sixth sense is so important. Do you recall in those years when you're experiencing this, your brother Bruce and yourself, did you experience any other like paranormal things, shadow figures, anything like that? And can you talk about that? Because I think they're connected. I don't know about you, but I'd like to know if you do.
I'll tell you one that's funny because it involved the whole family because of me. Okay. It started because of me. I found out later that the house that we lived in was haunted, but I didn't know that when we lived there. Nobody told us. There had been a murder or some crap. I don't know. There's always a murder. But we always ended up in those houses.
Because we were crap.
Poor. Yeah, exactly. Because we were poor. We always ended up in those houses. Nobody else wanted them, right? I was a 15 people homicide. That's fine. It's my bedroom.
Whatever.
Yeah. But one night,
exactly. Going on here today.
Yeah, the movie Psycho was shot here. What I found funny is one night I woke up and I could hear the sink in the kitchen. No, please, I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, so it gets some joke.
Okay.
I heard that
we're laughing at the tragedy. We're so sorry.
We're
traumatized.
He's poor.
We're laughing with you, not at you.
Right, exactly.
We always kept our door open in his house, and I had a straight view of the kitchen, and I heard the tap in the middle of the night, and it's dark, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, what the heck? I get up and I just look, on the side of my bed, and I see my twin brother. He's pouring himself a glass of water, but he's looking at me as if he was expecting me to see him. And he's wearing my favorite t-shirt. So because we're twins, we always have to share shirts. And I always wanted that specific shirt, but it was a red sweater with a stupid shoe on it. I don't know why I was obsessed with it, but I was. And I
remember those sweaters.
Listen, they were stylish at the time. But yeah, he was wearing my favorite sweater and he's looking at me and then he starts smiling. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's not answering me. He just keeps looking at me. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm getting mad at him. He's my twin. I'm allowed. And I hear from that side of the room, what are you talking about? Bruce just woke up. And I look at him. He's like, why are you yelling at me? And I look back in the kitchen and he's still there with the shirt looking at me with the smile on his face. But this time it's as if he got caught doing something nasty. and I
Ooh,
freak
I had
out. So I
goosebumps.
lean back in the bed and I tell Bruce, look in the kitchen, look in the kitchen. He did, but not much. All he saw was the dish rack with a knife sticking out, and his mind made a guy holding a knife like this. So we both start yelling at this point. Because I think that he saw himself, he didn't tell me he saw the guy with the knife, and he doesn't know what the hell I was freaking out about. So
Oh my
because of that,
God.
we woke up my dad, and my dad would always
Oh,
come
how
rescue us.
scary.
Yeah, but it was weird. It was just like you get different vibes like that too. Like, when you find out somebody's been murdered in that house, you're not really comfortable, and you tend to see things like, even if it's real or imagined, the phenomenon's still real.
Sounds like a doppelganger.
It was. It
It
was.
was.
And why my twin brother? Because he knew he was a butthole. And then he always bugged me. So, yeah. But, there's different things like that too. And I could attribute that to maybe it was some weird sleep thing because I woke up out of dead sleep. But it's just weird that I heard the faucet. And that's what was bugging me, was that the faucet wasn't turning off. The faucet was never on. When my dad got out of the bedroom to check around the house, he's like, no. Plus, we had a big Great Dane at the time. He's like, if there was an intruder in the house, the dog would have known. I'm like, yeah, but he was Bruce. It's my twin brother. He wouldn't have done anything.
Barked at him.
Exactly. No, that's the only other time. My twin brother Bruce is a huge believer in ghosts. He watches all the shows and stuff. And I'm more on the side of UAPs, aliens, of course. And for a long time, I didn't look at anything ghost related, skinwalker related, Bigfoot. I didn't care. I thought, no, it's only UAPs because that's the only thing my mind was set on. But the more that I research this stuff, the more I'm like, damn it, they're all related, right? They're all related. And I don't know how, but they are. And we need different fields of studies. Like you were mentioning, Katie, everybody needs to step in. If you're an artist or math, or you could help with biology, like anything you could contribute to helps pile up this massive, massive issue that we have, that it like you were talking about the 1,000-piece puzzle. This is like a 1,000,000-piece puzzle at least. And it's because we get given pieces of the puzzle that are not real to that puzzle. They're meant to mislead us, and it's confusing, but that's exactly what ufology is. It's try to put a puzzle together when people are trying to deceive you at the same time, right?
Yeah,
Take pieces away, give you false pieces. And I get stuck. I get stuck in believing in, new videos that pop up. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I still get stuck on those sometimes, like I'm so mad at those people for doing such a good job at those fake videos.
Well, we're almost so hopeful to find something real, so we want to look at them and dissect them.
Because it's bound to happen, like the Phoenix Lights. It's bound to happen again. And if that's the case, imagine this time around having thousands of videos from different angles, from house cameras, doorbells to, people that are gassing up at a gas station. Like it will be irrefutable. So,
and do you think the ET knows of our cell phones and cameras, and are they going to try and hide away from them? So maybe it won't happen again in a big populated area for that reason. I don't know. I'm just asking if you think that's true.
I think they know we have technology. I think whatever it is, the craft itself, it's so weird, but the crafts tend to be conscious. And they know what you have on your person. They could even understand sometimes what you think or control your thoughts. Like there's an event of a black triangle that goes above, this was in the 70s, I think, above a drive-in movie theater. And nobody bats an eye. They just look at it. Nobody panics. And
like
then,
the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. But it's like, why? Why don't we panic? Is it that we are comfortable with them, or is it that they control the situation? And even in my grandmother and grandfather's case, like, the blip that happened, they unless they go through hypnotic regression or something like that, I don't think they're going to know what happened during that time. But so many people call that in Close Encounter that there's a blip. And whatever happens within that blip, like some people end up being sick, radiation burns. Why? Like what happened during that time? And then, like you mentioned, you asked me, Katie, if there was any missing time. I really don't know, because
have you ever considered hypnosis?
Yeah, I reached out to somebody recently, and I'm really Debs. She might do it, but I don't know. I'd be interested in it.
Yeah.
It's just, if you find out you're an actual abductee, then it's like, I'm already scaring my wife by doing this podcast. I don't want to add to it, right? So I might keep it to myself. I don't know.
And I think on the topic of hypnosis, I mean, I got to know the pioneer Dr. Leo Sprinkle, PhD out of Laramie, Wyoming, quite well when I was researching the ranch. And, he was really well known for hypnosis. And so he put me under for an hour and a half. And I would encourage you, Jason, to do it just for the experience alone.
Yeah.
But I still question, like, is that my imagination coming out? But and make sure if you do it, make sure you get, a couple recordings, because if your one recorder fails, you have a backup.
Right.
But make sure you record it for sure, because the way I was speaking through that hypnosis and the tone of my voice changed to a little girl's voice. So it'd be interesting to see if you ended up having that like childlike kind of memories, because how old you were? 13. So if you're talking again like a 13-year-old through hypnosis, I mean, to me,
really
that's
thick
sort of
French
compelling.
accent is what's going to come through, I think.
Well, see, that would be fascinating to see if that would come through.
I see the UFO. It's above me now. It's going in that direction. Yeah.
I think it's interesting too that you mention animals, because Tara there has a love of animals. If I, as a kid, same thing. I was making my own dictionary of animals. I mean, if I could do any other job, I should have worked with animals, I mean, big animals. Gorillas, my favorite. And
Cool.
you too, you said you loved animals. So I find
animals.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody really
My wife
talk
is
about that
jealous of the
specifically.
dog. Yeah, my wife is jealous of the dog. I cuddle the dog all the time. She's constantly the dog's fed up of me. I almost feel like she's going to start a Me Too on me, because it's just I'm constantly on that dog. But yeah, I love animals. I think I get along better with animals than anything else. And even animals will pick up. Like if a person doesn't like dogs, the dog doesn't like that person. There's usually a good reason.
Yeah.
So I think animals are a sign that there's something good about you, that there's something that the animal senses or sees.
And the ET picks up on that, or maybe they're looking for people to nurture their crazy animals on their planet. Like, we have all these animals, we need people that are good with them.
Well, I'll tell you a crazy story. I was walking at a river, and I was in a really remote part, but there's a lady coming towards me. She's maybe about 100 feet away. And her dog just leaves her. It's a lab. He just leaves her side, and he runs towards me, wagging his tail. I'm like, "Oh, aren't you beautiful?" And I just started. And as she approached me, she looks at me weird. She goes, "You must be somebody special, because in 7 years he has never done that, ever."
Oh.
And I'm like, really? I was so honored that the dog had broken the rule for me.
Love it.
But there is something about, if you're genuine, if you're a good-hearted person, that comes across, maybe not within our own species, but animals can pick up on it, right? It's good vibes, but in this day and age, I think we need all the good vibes we can get.
Oh, don't you know it? Hey, you had talked about UFOs and UAPs, and maybe you can help us all understand, because you're kind of using both terms, it seems like, but I always thought the UFOs was flying. So UAPs, is it because they're not doing flight maneuvers that they changed that?
Well, see, they changed it because obviously the stigma of UFO came with a bunch of baggage that they themselves created over the years. I'm sorry, but it's a self-created problem. So they're like, well, now if we're going to address it, we need to change the name. But to me, UFO was always an unidentified flying object. And that was what we've always known it as.
Right.
But recently there's been developments of just weird things, like the orbs that sort of seem to defy. It's not an aircraft, and they'll even merge together. I've seen one here in BC, 3 of them. One of them dropped behind a mountain, and 2 of them just merged together.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, how is that possible? And that is the phenomenon, because it's like, okay, well, it's aerial, but it's not a craft. And people see weird things, weird shapes, portal looking stuff. Like it's a phenomenon.
Right.
But, even saying UFO is wrong, because we're only saying that it's flying. They're in the water as much as they are in the
Or
sky.
they're landed. There's a meme going around. I just saw it today. Like, if you identify a UFO, then it's just a UO. And if it's landed, it's just an O.
Yeah,
it's just an O.
No.
It's just an O.
No, it's not. Nope. Yeah, I can see
An
that.
object sitting
Oh my
there.
God. Hey, I have a question. Couldn't they be in the mountains too? We've had guests that say they've seen the objects where like the ground just opens up or melts and they go in and it just comes back as if
Or
nothing
drive
ever
right
happened.
through it as if the mountain's not even there.
volcanoes.
So it's not just water or air.
But here's the thing. I think it steps outside the boundaries of our reality and things that we are capable of doing. They're not limited by that. As somebody had mentioned or did I finally understood the concept. It said, if you draw a drawing of a stick person, then a box, and you say the box is a safe, and you put a $sign inside the box. Now, the person, the stick man outside the box, to him, the box is closed, cannot be open. It's all four sides are closed. But you're a third dimensional being. You could pick the $sign from inside that box, and that two-dimensional creature would never know how you did it. Imagine now that you have layers of dimensions like that, right? Wow. You think dimension number 3 affects you when you live in dimension number 9? It's not the same physics. It's not the same reality. And I think we need to come to terms of saying, okay, we live in a lesser vibration reality. And these things appear like gods because they are technically living in higher dimensions than we are. They like just get to show up. Yes, exactly. Indistinguishable from magic. Right.
Sounds like the past.
I don't have I think that's a chair behind you, Jason. And there could be something sitting right there right now, whether it's a relative, ET, whatever. Yeah. And you never know. You wouldn't know because we see such a sliver with our senses.
And even people that have out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, they're like, dude, you have no idea. Like when we came, we didn't want to come back because it's coming back to a lesser frequency. We were in a higher frequency. You're like, oh, that's cool. At least there's something to look forward to. Right?
I hope.
Yeah, I hope. But we do live in, we're very limited because we only have the 5 senses that we're given. And that's only to operate in this realm. We don't need other other senses because we don't operate in those other realms. And I think that's the terrifying thing for us is that it's alien to us for a good reason because we cannot wrap our heads around it. We're not designed to do that. So however far we get with these studies and whether they're interdimensional, extraterrestrial, or all of the above, the amount of activity that is happening globally as we speak worldwide with these things is nonstop. And you got to think about how big of an operation that is, not only for the crew that is needed to operate these things, the overall cost, if there are any. Yeah. And the one that freaks me out the most.
Hopefully they don't have money on different planets.
Well, they probably don't operate that way. I think maybe to be different, they're not humans. We're stupid. We got to come up with some sort of system. I think they, if they're telepathic too, they will all work together because if I could read both your minds, all 3 of us could accomplish amazing things. I would have all your knowledge. You would have all of mine. I would understand your feelings. You would never be hurt by me because I'd be hurting myself. Now imagine an entire planet culture that works that way. How fast?
Right. Yeah. We have about 4 minutes until break. And when we come back from break, we're going to play An Evening on Earth with an extraterrestrial. But with 4 minutes left, to that point, to your point of if all of us could read into each other's minds, or if we have neural link and we could just download what's in the computers and the internet and all that knowledge, which maybe someday we'll be able to do that and maybe within our lifetimes. And I think the reason we're seeing progress now, and I don't know about you, but I want to know if you have hope of maybe making some leaps and bounds in these fields of the unknown. And I'm talking not only UFOs, but paranormal, all of it, cryptids. Do you think having access to the knowledge, to the internet, and not having to go through these libraries and books like we had to not so long ago, do you think that is going to propel us to these answers?
I think so. I think what we have to watch out for is like usually with like the books that we read, there's an editor that the facts have got to be straight. You got to show that you did your homework. With the internet, you don't need to do that. So it's very easy to be deceived. And with the people that have been keeping this secret from the start, they're at it every day. They got people online creating things, false information. They're still at the, they're adapting with the times, but they're still at the old tactics of disinformation or it's real information, but they throw it in when there's so much crap going out that nobody pays attention to it. Every time a war starts or a big thing happens, they drop a UAP piece of news. As you notice that Trump is being impeached. By the way, UAPs are real. War in Gaza. By the way, UAPs are real. They do that constantly. It's like, oh, you guys are tricky, but they do that. They look for opportunities to drop just nuggets here and there.
Yeah.
and let the collective eventually pull the information together. So
who do you think they are?
it's either they're protecting a very scary reality from us, that's something horrible that we can't even imagine, or they're selfish and they're traders and they're using the technology for themselves, withholding the information of reality for the rest of us, lying, omitting. So there's only two possibilities here. There's no third. It's either they're in it for themselves or they're hiding it to protect us. There's no
who are they though?
Organizations, special programs like Richard Doty at his time, like they've trained people since then. They got plenty, they got plenty of people since then that know what they're doing. But it's it's nonstop, and they spend billions of dollars every year just in these programs. Who knows how much it goes towards keeping us silent or keeping things out of the news. A lot of money must be spent.
Yeah,
well,
we're paying for it as taxpayers, right?
You said we couldn't really wrap our heads around all this. Is that why? I mean, does it matter? So does that mean there won't be disclosure because we'll never be able to comprehend it even if they tell us?
Well, it's the panic. So when the so-called virus appeared, everybody here locally ran for the toilet paper. I don't know how the toilet paper got introduced in this, but it was like, oh my God,
have any right
it's
here.
the end of toilet paper. Get as much as you can. They're going to stop making it during this virus. And it was stupid. Like people are punching each other in the face at Costco over toilet paper.
Never saw it coming.
No,
there are newspapers, and we have alternative leaves. I don't know.
Yeah, just
Corn cobs.
Pine cones. Get
Ow!
Yeah, hey, we'll get the job done though, right? All those little scoops. But what that's what I think is the biggest problem is that individually we're smart, collectively we're idiots. And we react in a herd mentality. It's like you hear people all the time, like, why did you participate in, when they have riots? So like, I don't know. If everybody was doing it, you felt like you needed to do it.
Yeah.
There's innate things that we do that are built in that we deny that we have, but they're instincts, and we follow our instincts with the rest of our species. And I think if instincts of panic spreads across the globe, even though we've been doing it for years, we'll start getting panicked too, because they're normal conditions, right? These guys have studied human psyche and all that, so they know how we work.
Right. All right. On that, let's go to break, and we'll see you on the other side. Gotta do the dance. All right.
You made it in time.
All right. Welcome back. Okay. There's lingering. Everybody got their toilet paper. I have my toilet paper. I think I'm scarred from that whole incident, because if I get even a couple rolls short, I panic. Still to this day, it's like toilet paper PTSD.
There's nothing worse than the day you run out of toilet paper and you find out the hard way. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's not good. So,
and you find out the hard way there's none in the grocery stores.
I don't know if this is one of the rolls, but they have this new fancy roll. It's like
the edges.
It has the edges. It's like
so pretty.
How fancy. I feel like I'm in a hotel. Okay. Anyway,
why didn't they think of that before?
Brilliant. People are brilliant.
It's a product I never knew I needed.
We do. Anytime you can feel fancy.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's a good tip. Like make everything special. Glasses garnish your food, everything, whatever you can do.
But toilet paper, that's when somebody's doing good financially. You can always tell how somebody's doing financially by their toilet paper.
That's true. Stash.
Yeah. I've been in your bathroom. You got one ply. How are things going?
Right. And I've never been in a person's house who has a golden toilet. Not yet. But that's on the bucket list. Not yet. That'll happen. Golden toilet. Wow.
Why?
All right. So let's play An Evening on Earth with an Extraterrestrial. It's just a fun little way to get to know Jason a little bit better. Okay. So ET comes down. I'm going to throw in a new question. I've never asked this question before. You're the first, Jason.
Okay, bring it.
But what type of ET would you like to be dining with? There's so many species.
Good point. Now, would I be eating, or would it be eating too?
You're both going to be eating. First, I need a location where you're going to be dining. Yeah, you're going to be sharing a meal.
Okay. I would want to do the grays. I think they're the ones I'm more focused on. So a gray.
All right. This might be a new question. So
a tall gray. How about a tall gray?
All right. Yeah. Jason's meeting with the tall gray. Where on the planet would you like to meet with this tall gray?
New Zealand.
Oh, beautiful. Lord of the
Right.
Rings.
Right.
Mhm.
Right in
Uh,
Hobbiton. That's where I want it to be.
Oh,
Right. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Actually, behind me is all my Tolkien stuff. Same on this side here. I just do this professionally in the back, look legit, not like a geek.
oh, that's me too. Matter of fact, we just got done watching the whole extended thing, and then they have the appendices. So there's like 3, 6, like 9 hours of all, and it's almost better than the
Gosh.
movies. I'm such a Lord of
Yeah,
the
like
Rings geek.
how they
We can
made
have a Lord of the Rings show.
and then this
I
podcast.
better watch it. Uh-oh.
New podcast idea. Oh, Jason, you
There
need
you
to be
go.
on that. Okay, so we're in Hobbiton. This is great with the tall gray. What are you guys eating?
What are we eating? I would say poutine, because I'm Canadian. Poutine.
I don't know what that is.
What is it?
Poutine is French fries, cheese curds with gravy on top.
Oh,
Okay.
It's a Canadian dish. Now, you normally have fries with, gravy. That's fine. But add the
chili.
cheese to it. Add the cheese to it. Cheese curds, not grated cheese. And it's you have it everywhere in this country. Like you go anywhere and it's addictively good. But it is also very fattening. So don't eat too much of it. Yeah. But it's so
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Sounds
I
great.
gotta write this on my go to Canada and eat. What did you call it?
It's called poutine.
Poutine.
Poutine. Yeah.
Don't say it, Katie. Okay. Okay.
Think Vladimir Putin, and you got poutine. There you go.
Okay. Interesting. I gotta try that. Sounds delicious.
I bet the
Okay,
Gray would
and-
like it. Mhm.
Yeah, I bet so.
Mhm.
And so, what music or what song would you play for the ET?
Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Nice.
Right.
Stevie
Yeah.
Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. Be Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan
Okay.
would be
The
playing.
guitar on.
And now you guys are all filled up on your gravy fries with the curds, and you're gonna watch a movie. You're gonna sit on the couch in Hobbiton, the little bitty couch that the hobbits
Yeah.
sit on. You watch a movie. What movie are you gonna watch?
Close Encounters. And I'm going to say, how close are we to this? How close?
Is that a close one?
Yeah.
That's a good
You
way to
got-
sneak in a second question because you only get one question. So
There you
other than
go.
that question, what question would you ask your tall gray friend, Larry? I just named him.
Are we equals? Are we
Oh.
equals?
Hmm.
Because in our own species, we're not equals. There's hierarchies in many different things, and then sub hierarchies within that. So, are we equal to them in the way that our life means as much to them as it means to us? Are we equal in respect, mutual respect, or are we beneath them? Right? There's no way we're above them, so it's either one of the two. But yeah, I'd be very curious to ask them that.
That's a great question. And that brings me to something that kind of triggered. So the last week or so, we've been going through a lot of just historical documents, APRO journals, all sorts of stuff. I came across an interesting document that talks about, and you brought this up before the break, that perhaps the truth that they're trying to cover and hide is so shocking and going to be so damaging to our world views, I guess, and that we couldn't handle it. And one of these documents that came across, it said that ET is using us for our souls, for food, and that kind of thing. Do you believe that could be true? And do you think that's part of what the cover up is about? Something horrible like that?
No, I don't actually believe in a
Good.
threat
I'm like,
narrative.
thank you.
Yeah, I
Good.
don't, because there's
Good.
so many cases where compassion or sense of
Yeah.
humor was detected,
Yeah.
where a person is freaking
Oh.
out, and it's like even Whitley Strieber and the female looking entity said, "What can we do to make you stop screaming?" Like they
Oh.
actually care. Or medical procedures that are done, the person doesn't know why, and it turns out they had appendicitis, and they just happened to find it while they had them there, so they took it out. Or healed from a disease, or like there's just, yes, I understand that some people have been injured,
Mhm.
but I don't think it's the same ETs. I think there's different forces, and I think people, depending on who you run into, wrong place, right time, depends on what's event is going to take place, and whether you have something that's benign, compassionate, or not compassionate at all. And let's face it, there's been major non-compassionate situations. But a lot of the time, it's aggression that's showed towards them first. I mean, keep in mind, we fire on them. Like even the Alaska shooting and what happened here a year ago, we fire on them. They didn't fire on us. And there was no signs of aggression, but we shot a $500,000 missile at it to bring it down. My biggest concern is who's calling the shots behind the scene, because there's people saying, let's shoot them down and get more of their technologies. They're making decisions for the rest of us. And maybe it's not the best decision to make at this point, because there's no way they're just going to be passive and let it go over and over again. So if they have the capabilities of, completely shutting off a submarine, which I think Kevin Knuth just mentioned at the Seoul convention there about the New Zealand submarine, they have the capabilities of shutting planes down.
And
but
nukes.
They haven't shown and nukes, but they have
Yeah.
showed no signs that we know of aggression, unless we try to target them first. That's the only time I've ever heard of any conflict between the two. Now, much less the conflict that we are bringing on them, but we're bringing on ourselves, because we're not going to play fair. And whatever technology we have, we're going to use against us, right? It's about how can I gain alien tech to use against my own people. And that's the horrible part of this. It's not their schedule. It's what's our agenda ultimately with this, right?
Well, that's with anything with the government. It's about how they can use it, I would think. But so if I'm wondering, because I'm wondering if you think that the grays could be AI, some kind of artificial intelligence, and maybe even some of the other objects. You said that the crafts have a consciousness. Maybe that's artificial intelligence. And do you think this intelligence might have evolved enough to know that it doesn't have a soul, and that's why we're trying to harvest?
Well, here's the thing. I thought about this too. And at first I thought along those lines, but there's certain people, like recently I was talking to Susan Alloway, and she was mentioning when she touched the gray and she smelled her fingers, she said, oh, gross. And it read her mind and it said, no, not gross. We are the same. So they're telling us that somehow we are related. They say we are you and you are us. Why do they say that? Does it mean that the souls inhabit different, like what if the souls are the same? We just inhabit different species at different locations. And the whole point is to raise global or universal consciousness, regardless of the species. We don't know. There's so many theories we can throw out there. But again, the compassion, the making somebody stop screaming. Terry Lovelace, when he was on the table and he's yelling, which I would too. Keep in mind, I would too. And the doctor,
maybe you did.
Yeah, maybe I did. Shut up, Katie. Don't do that. He said the gray looked at him. He said, "Oh, be quiet. We always put you back."
Oh,
Like that's what those little things that people say. And that's what my focus is on, is the entities. Yes, I care about the technology, but the technology must pale in comparison to the entities. Imagine what their cities look like. That's just the craft that you're in. Imagine what their civilization looks like, the technology, the things they're capable of doing. But the entities themselves, if we want to know why they're here, we have to look at the abductees. They're the people that we're going to find out what they're up to. Right. Why do they follow family lines? What's their interest in that? And why? Like, how do they know? You move from Quebec to BC and they find you. Like, there's no, like, do you have a tracker? And they said, well, we could find you anytime we want. Like, you could go anywhere, we'll find you. Even the remote abductees, like Betty Bardiel. What's that?
I said Daryl Sims.
Daryl Sims.
Daryl Sims.
But no, if you have a tracker. But real quick, to your point, Jason, and you bring up a great point here, that perhaps we, our souls enter different. And we had a guest on, Debbie Solaris, right? And Tara, you had a few meetings with her.
Yes.
And isn't that what she kind of suggests, perhaps, that our souls can inhabit different universal species throughout the universe?
Well, I think that there's theories to that too, that this universe is capable of all sorts of type of life, and there could be parallel universes or, all sorts of things. But it's all about a single source for all of it. And some of the theories are that single source is love, and that frequency of love and that compassion that you're talking about, Jason. So,
But the thing is, if someone's alien, you're not going to read, like we're talking about reading people, you're not going to be able to read an alien's motives or intentions. But the fact that they're continuously in your mind, they know what your thoughts are, they can talk to you, calm you down. Like, if they were not compassionate, they would have no objective to do that for you. They wouldn't care. And when they're done doing whatever they are to you, they could shoot you out the airlock. There's no reason to bring you back to your bed and tuck you back in. Do you know what I mean? So when you start to think about it, yes, it's traumatic, for the experience, whether it's during the day, at night, or whatever, but they bring you back. And for some reason, the abductees over time say, like, it's some sort of agreement. Like, I agreed to this somehow. So is that before you came here in this lifetime? And if so, then how deep does the implication of the UFO phenomenon, does it extend into death? Are they aware of when you're dead? You know what I mean? Like, we have to open our minds and the possibilities of how big this goes and the reason why it's being kept secret.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you, Jason, or Bruce, or both, or either, feel like you've been monitored and watched and sort of followed throughout your life? Do you feel like this is why you're doing what you're doing?
No, I don't think that I've been monitored.
No.
But I think my philosophy is that we, and this, I'm going to get all spiritual here, but
That's okay.
we come here for a reason. And Katie, you chose to be Katie for a reason. You chose this person. You are not Katie. You're a different entity than Katie, and you'll identify different than Katie when you're out of your body. The body's like a car. Eventually, the car breaks down, but the driver gets out. The driver always gets out.
For containers.
And just simply forgot you got in to begin with, right? Yeah. But that's my thing. I'm like, I do have frail health. I almost died twice within the last 3 years. Never told the listeners this. Been up in ICU for, diabetes related complications. Oh, no. But while I'm here, I'm going to do this because this is what I came here to do. Or this is what I chose to do and devote myself to it. And life's behind the scenes, and you guys know this, it's messy. We have families, we go through financial issues, but we choose to come back to this. And why? Because it helps people. If I'm able to connect people or connect the dots for people, and I do have that, people reach out all the time, and my heart just like gets bigger and bigger because these people are saying, dude, you've helped me come to terms with this, or you've shown me to join MUFON, or whatever it is. Like, that was the whole goal. That's the point, is to affect and touch somebody to do something else. I may not be the next Nikola Tesla, but the guy I'm able to influence might be, right? So then I did my job, and that's the way I look at life. We all have our little task to do, and let's do it.
God, that means you're in this for the right reasons. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Why don't we have more of you? I mean, we have people out there muddying the waters, and I agree. I mean, I love connecting with people and hearing their experiences, and just everybody collectively, we're all trying to kind of
I'm just
wrap our heads around all this.
Open your minds here, but they say the good die young, so old people must be really bad.
Oh no, my mom's 92. Oh,
what did she do? What did she do? Where's the book?
Matter of opinion.
I get the book. No, just kidding. I'm just joking. Sorry, Mom. That's not good. That's not nice.
Jason, how important is it to you to know the truth about what's going on?
For myself, it's the only thing that really keeps me, I would say, going, is saying, if you know something to be true, if you witness something to be true, and for me, it was the age of 13, but my convictions are so strong, I've never shut up about it. Even when people were mocking me, I'm like, dude, you have no idea they're here. I saw them.
Are you stubborn?
Oh, I'm stubborn, yes, but especially about things that I'm right.
But he's honest.
I've always been that. Yeah. I'm honest, and if I'm right, I will fight tooth and nail. I don't care what somebody says. I am right. You are wrong. And I think, and people want that, especially in this community. They got to trust that the person giving them the information comes from an honest point of view. And for me, it's like the podcast, when I first started, Katie knows this because she was gracious enough to join me when I first started. We know each other for a few years now. You've been on it several times, but it's very near and dear to my heart because when I first started, MUFON gives you a book that's maybe about a half-inch thick. And I thought, there is no way I'm going to learn ufology in this amount of pages. So I said, why not reach out to people that do this, like Katie, and have them on and learn how to do investigations, learn what I'm doing. Instead of coming at it like I know what I'm doing right off the bat, I don't. So I started the podcast because I thought, well, why don't I just record what they say so I could listen to it again? And if that's the case, why don't I share it with people?
Right.
But I think the concept was there at the right time because it blew up really fast, which to me, I'm still amazed at. But the vision is the same. And I tell that to any of the co-hosts that come on. Now we have Dr. Michael Glosson on, but I tell them it's about the subject, not about us. The people come on the podcast, we ask a question, we shut up, we let them talk, right? It's about learning and no discrimination. And we'll defend any of our guests. Somebody comes on, somebody says something nasty about them, gone. It's you play by our rules, which we're showing that be a gentleman, be nice, be classy. That's what we need in this field. Twitter obviously is not reflecting that at all.
Stay away from that. I hear so many bad things. I'm terrified.
Katie, I get involved in fights all the time. I don't know why, Katie. Every day I like argue with somebody. I'm like, why? Why do I do this? Yeah, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't.
You shouldn't have to. That drains so much of your energy. And it's what's sad about that to me is it takes away people's passion to find the truth and to find, each individual person, I don't want to say truth, because each individual person has their own perspectives and their own truths and their own values and what they're going to do with the information. That's why I said kind of like find your niche. And I would like to know, Jason, through this process, how you found an area in this field that is kind of like your wheelhouse, that you're more interested than others. What is
hands down abductions.
Okay.
Yeah, that is my main focus of study. If I ever write a book, it's going to be on that. Yeah, I love, and the thing is, being a visual artist, I painted that painting in the back there. But being a visual artist, and that's from Travis Walton's point of view when he woke up, because he said he had the three entities around him.
Yeah. I like that.
I got the suits wrong, though. They're black, and he said they were orange. So I got that wrong. But it looks more menacing this way.
I'm going to take a marker. No, just
exactly. But I draw what the person says they saw. If they're on the table, they say, I saw this, I saw that. So I recreate it, and I ask them details. The one detail I always want to know is the smell. Can you please describe me the smell? Right? Because it's the closest part of your memory in your brain. Yeah. So if you could trigger the smell, it could trigger a memory. Same way as when you walk in and somebody made cookies and it reminds you of grandma's cookies, right? Like it's just, it triggers that. So it's rare though, that I get a smell description. They'll remember the visuals, the pain, mostly the pain. They'll remember that. Yeah. They'll remember a conversation they had, but they can't tell me the smell. But if they do recall the smell, there's always a smell of ammonia or pee in a diaper, like, if a soiled diaper mixed in with like almost like a Parmesan or a cheese. That's what the recent lady says. That's a smell.
Glad I got my toilet paper roll.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, fellas, I don't mind you taking me in the middle of the night, but the smell, I brought some rays. Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. And the details that they say too. And that's the part that I'm always fascinated about is what are the entities saying to these people? Obviously people are being hurt, and pain is never a good thing to remember, and saying, look, in their presence, I felt a lot of pain. That sucks. But is there a purpose behind it? There has to be a purpose behind it. Like, why do they, and especially with people who have been abducted their entire lives, why is it that they start almost amicable as kids? Like they come and visit them and talk with them and almost seem like friends. And then when the child goes through, mostly women go through adolescence, now all of a sudden the dynamics shift and becomes more like medical procedures, very interested in her biological ability to mate and reproduction. And then it changes, and throughout their lifetimes, they have different experiences, and then they come to grips with more and more information, but only at the end of the cycle. And then by the time the woman will go through menopause, there's no more contact. They stop because she can no longer reproduce. Yeah. And that's fascinating. It's like, okay, so why are they so interested in that? Because we birth people, we birth souls. Maybe they don't. Right? Maybe that's the fascination about this, is that we have a capability of what they can't do. Maybe messed it up in the past. Look at what we're doing now amongst our own species. So, you know, multiply that by 1 million years. What does that do? But it's very fascinating. And men, it's the same thing, but men will have less almost sexual related abductions cases. Like there'll be semen taken out, but the man doesn't feel an orgasm. It's just taken out. And then they're shown around the ship or something along those lines. One theory, though, that I want to mention to you is twins. Twins are of high importance in these things.
About that. Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, because recently even Ross Coulthard mentioned that the military solved the problem on how to fly these ships that they have by using twins. It's the connection that twins have that another person doesn't have. And I know that because I'm a twin brother. I know the connection I have to my twin. And I'm like, okay, so maybe it's that mental, that when we're saying that the ship is almost, it's conscious, right? And even when you have, you know, people saying like David Fravor saying he went towards it, it pivoted towards it. Like it knew it was coming at it.
Right.
Almost like the ship itself is an animal, and then it runs circles around you and, you know, it has fun with you. But that's the part that's crazy. We can't do that in a jet. If you want to turn, like you're turning for like a mile or so to be able to make it.
Yeah.
These
And
things
I think all people have that sense of connection or that intuitiveness with other people, friends, family. Mothers have it with children. But I do know the research shows that within twins, it is definitely a more intense connection.
Well, because you form together in the womb.
Yeah, right.
And then you both come to a mutual understanding of each other's presence in the womb.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like even when you see like little twins that haven't seen each other for hours, how they hug each other and kiss each other. It's like, it's part of them. That person is part of them. A twin could die if the other twin dies early, like in childbirth. The other twin has a good possibility of dying as well. Like they need each other.
Yeah.
So, but that again is a fascinating thing. It's like, what is it? Is it the, like Gary Nolan talks about the basal ganglia? Is it that it's more acute or more active in twins? Is that what flies the ship? You know, there's so many questions. Like there's no joystick or anything like that. Even Travis Walton said it was just a chair with buttons. Like, how does that work? Like, how do you maneuver a ship like that? So yeah, it's very fascinating. Very fascinating.
It's just 4 buttons, you know, forward, reverse,
forward button.
Right.
Whenever they crash, it's because it's a new learner. You know what I mean? It's a new kid, some 16-year-old alien learning to drive for the first time. Yeah. I said, park. But yeah, no, it's weird. Even, you know, when we look at the Travis Walton case, we were talking about compassion. His friends left him after he got shocked or whatever. His friends bailed out on him. So they had no other options but to go and save him because his friends weren't coming back. They came back later, but they didn't know that. They're like, we should get out of here. What do we do with this guy? Ah, crap. All right, let's save him. And that's what they did.
And I think, didn't Travis's, he kind of came to that realization later, right?
Yes.
And naturally he would, because otherwise you think, well, no, there was a light that hit me and then I was inside the ship. Look, you are not a chosen one. And when I say chosen one, the people they follow through life, you're a one-off. Now, the one-offs happen all the time. If you're in the car with a person who's an abductee and it's their time again, you're going with. Or you stay paralyzed behind the wheel of the car and you have no recollection of it. But the one-offs happen all the time. Even kids will go sleep over some kid's house and then that kids get taken at night. That other kid's going too, right? They both got caught together in the same room. You're coming with. Those are the one-offs.
In the Travis Walton case, though, I mean, you know, talk about the Mars. We had a very large file on Travis Walton in there. And I remember going and getting him a little flash drive, and taking it to Travis. And there were things in there he hadn't seen in decades and was like, whoa. And I'm like, are you okay? Because, you know, we had Phil Class stuff in there and all the things he went through. But I believe, to my recollection anyway, that there was a family history or lineage in Travis Walton as well. So again, you know, back in the day during the Phil Class days, that might have been something people might have seen as negative. But now I think we've come far enough to know that adds credibility to his case, not takes it away, because we see this time and time and time again.
And the scary bit about it too, to tell you the truth, is the people that come visit after the fact. Like, how do these men in black or government or military official know that you had a visit the night before or that you're going to talk to someone? Like, how do they know? That's a part that, you know, and even we interviewed Ellie Flippin recently. She's the niece of Ingo Swann. And she would tell you that there's people that work within the government that have this ability. They know where you are. They know how to find you. Even Ingo Swan, when he said, when you come up to 60 or 65% accuracy, put a note underneath your pad on your desk that says you did it, and we'll come. And they knew it. He wrote it. He put it underneath it, and they found him. How? These are abilities that maybe we have that the government doesn't want you to know. Maybe the ETs and the higher consciousness opens up the mind. They don't want you to do that because now that's a weapon they can't use. Maybe it's a weapon against them.
They can't control you.
It's our senses. And I think, they're being suppressed as often as possible. They don't want us to be aware of the abilities to remote view or be aware of things.
And there's people that are capable of doing these things. I don't know why. Maybe they're just wired that way, but if we can't toss that out now, because we know the government funded these programs, we know the government wanted to know and looked into this because it's a form of control. Now, is it related to the ET, or is it related to how do we control the population and making sure we keep them as dumbed down as we can? Create wars, create viruses, create, racial issues, create political issues. Just keep fighting amongst yourselves while we do what we need to do. And that's exactly, we see it now in 2024, like how many politicians, Canada included, that are dirty. Like Trudeau is a dictator. It's scary. Like, I think that's what happens is that if the slogan of the podcast is, are you paying attention?
I know. I
love it.
Yeah. See, if you're paying attention, you can't be deceived because you've been keeping up all this whole time.
And it sounds so cool, by the way. Are you paying attention?
I
am now because I was cool sounding.
I love my old lady British voice that I do in that opening. But no, it's super important. I think this phenomenon is above and beyond just entities, but I think it has something to do with you, a person. It has to do with what you like. How do they know? Like I said, like you look into some like Katie or something like that, looks into cattle mutilation, stuff like that. Like they probably have a file on Katie. Like they know that Katie's active, that she's out there. She might stumble across something that they don't want her to stumble across.
Yeah.
Even for me, I don't think that I have a record with them, but they're monitoring everybody. Right.
If you stumble across something on your podcast, Jason, and you were approached by Men in Black or whoever these blokes are, what would you do? How would you react? And would you be quiet?
No, because I keep thinking about that. Like, what would I do? Now, the only times that I think would be freaky is when people have described that they come right through a wall or right through a door, which are like, okay, a human can't do that. Or at least not the way we know it, unless they develop some sort of ability to do so. So that'd be a more scary, intimidating form. But I think they just knock on your door. The first thing I would do is just look at them and make sure they're human, because I heard that they look a little bit weird. And if they don't look human, I have tons of questions for them. They won't be able to say anything edgewise. And to me, that would be an encounter. That to me would confirm that what I'm doing is spot on. If anything, if they do that, it's spot on. And by the way, guys, just for the record, I'm not suicidal. So if you find me later dead and I commit suicide, it's not it.
Yeah,
it's
not you.
me.
A Man in Black.
Man in Black.
That's a good point.
But that'd be a scary bit. Yeah.
So, seeing or having an encounter with anybody related to the subject, I think would be scary. Can you talk about maybe your favorite case regarding abduction that you've encountered or personally experienced?
Famous case.
Or what's your favorite abduction case?
Well, there's actually 20 minutes away from my house is a city called Aldergrove, BC. And back in the 90s, this lady was in the backyard with a male friend. They were having some sort of coffee, looking at the stars on her patio. And a black flying triangle appears above their house. Now, here where I live, it's nothing but black triangles everywhere. People report them all the time, everywhere in the valley. So we have a big problem. But we live in the Cascade Mountains, share the border with Washington State. And I know for a fact they're hiding something in there. People see them amongst the
there too.
Yeah, Sasquatch, Harrison is just 10 minutes away from me. So she's hanging out in the backyard and they get spooked and he decides to go back inside the house. She decides just to watch for 5 minutes. She does. The craft leaves. She goes back inside. He's furious with her. She's gone for 45 minutes and she left him alone with the kids and he's mad. She's like, she doesn't understand. But she was gone for 45 minutes. And then she starts getting these terrifying nightmares. Then her daughter starts talking about the doctor that comes and sees her at night and then draws the doctor.
Oh.
And this is only 20 minutes away from here. And as she says, one night she's closing all the stuff in the house. And she goes up the stairs to make sure the kids are okay. And a gray comes out of her daughter's bedroom and looks at her. And she just freezes in the stairs. And then it does this really weird thing because they move very, very weird. They either hover. It's like they don't use their legs much, but they'll hover, or they look like they're jumping from one position to another, almost like a quantum movement, but all the way out the window. And that was it. It was gone. So they come and go through walls, windows.
Was it like a one-story house or two stories?
Two-story house. Two-story house.
Two-story window.
Yeah. And I can only imagine. I mean, there's so many cases, and you guys have heard this many, many times of how many parents are petrified because they can't do anything about their kids being taken.
Yeah.
They know that they're being taken, but they can't do anything about it.
Right.
And I could only assume, like, even that, if you're getting taken with your children, how much fear you have as a parent, much more than the kids, because you're like, where are my kids? Where are my kids? No, they're okay. They're behind you. No, what are you doing? Like, are you hurting them the way you're hurting me? Like, this is where my compassion for these people come in, because who do you tell? The next morning, you got to go to work and look everybody and smile. And do you want coffee? And meanwhile, you got this going on in your life that,
do you have any
reality.
advice, Jason, for parents out there that might be having kids, not only possibly being abducted, but seeing shadows or seeing ghosts? Or what advice can you give for parents that are going through that?
Listen, that's all you got to do is listen to the kid and just acknowledge what they're saying. Okay. And then when does this happen? Does this happen often? Because what happens, we instantly, our parents used to do that. I'm an 80s kid. But if I went to say anything to my kids, my parents like, I'll get out of the house for 8 hours and don't bother me, right? And literally, like, you had to get out of the house for 8 hours. So they wouldn't believe you because you're just a kid.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But if there's something like that, I saw this, I'll pay attention to what my kids are saying. Like, what did you see? Can you give me the details? What did you feel? Where was it? Like, that's all you got to do. And the kid feels at least that you listen to them, and then you're okay. Well, if it happens again, let me know. I care. I want to know. Dismissing what a kid sees to me is asinine, because the kids are a lot more open to this stuff than we are. Over time, we've been conditioned and trained to not do this, not to talk about it. The kids they're brand new. They're fresh, new cars. They pick up things and signals and radio waves that we can't, right? So yeah, I absolutely think the kids are a great way. Like, even the aerial school phenomenon.
Yes.
Like, those kids' faces, like, you could tell they saw something. And again,
did you see that new documentary about that? I think it was on Netflix, like Encounters or something. And there was that one witness that stepped forward and said he hoaxed the whole thing. What did you think of that if you saw it?
Okay, first of all, the way he was moving and twitching, that's a drug addict. So I think he was offered money for a lot of drugs to do that, because why would you recant that 30 years later and say you pointed to a janitor or a rock? The other aspect of it too was now she's a principal, but she was a teacher, and she said that they showed up in her bedroom about a month later, right? Did they land in aerial school because of her in the first place? That's the question that I have. They talked to the kids. Maybe it was just, they happen to be here, I'll talk to them. And again, this is weird. That one little dude spoke to 60 kids and gave them all different messages at the same time. Like, think about the brain power or the universal power you got to have to be able to do that. But they showed up. They took her out. She remembers thinking it was funny because obviously she was on a small, little, thin table, and she's a big woman. So she thought, boy, do they have the wrong table for me. But,
what an interesting to remember.
It was, yeah, but the little details. It's the details. Even the Betty Barney Hill, when they came in tugging on her teeth, and he was all excited talking to his friends somehow, but he was tugging on her teeth. And then he asked her, why aren't your teeth coming out? Your husband's dead. And she has to explain to him what dentures were. So yeah, just little details like that. You're like, wow, like, who would come up with that? That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's the part for me. Like, my heart, my compassion is with abductees, because I find them more, and even the one I'm working with right now, like, I'll show them the artwork. Do I have this correct? Was this the color of your dress? What was the environment like? Was it sunny? Was it like, I want to know the details as much as possible. And like I said, I find the compassion is there though somehow. It might not be compassion the way we understand compassion, but in their own way they care. Otherwise, they wouldn't do the things they do. They wouldn't say the things that they say. And the government wouldn't be freaked out about them as much as they are. Right.
And these abductees that you have interviewed and talked with, do you have these projections, like you hear these large rabbits or, owls or animals? Do you hear that often? And if so, what have you heard about that?
Well, recently I've been working with Susan Alloway and the jackrabbits.
Okay.
I can't wait to show
cool.
you the artwork for that, guys. Oh, yeah. But yeah, initially when she stopped the car, it was 30 large 3-foot tall jackrabbits in the road.
Oh, wow.
And when she got out of the car and looked at them, they were all just at different poses, somewhere up, somewhere down. And when the flash happened and it got blinded and her vision came back, it was 30 grays looking at her. It wasn't jackrabbits. So they do that though. Like even they'll remove the stars from the sky when you're driving on the highway. Like she mentioned, the moon disappears. You're like, how is this possible? Like reality itself changes in their presence. And that's what people don't understand. You could recount the story of what happened, but the feeling and what you actually saw are indescribable to people. And unless they go through it themselves, they have no point of reference. So they cannot imagine what you're talking about. But if we had telepathy, like we were talking earlier, and I could transfer those emotions, those scenes in my head to you, there would be no denying of what happened. So I think that hinders our species more than anything.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just, well, you were just talking about the telepathy and I'm sorry, I kind of got off my track here. I guess let me start over. Knowing what you know now, if you were that 13-year-old boy, what would you do differently in your life?
You'll take me. You'll take me, maybe. Yeah. But here's the thing is that for me, it's more the acknowledgement of people in my life that is more important. Now, the thing is really weird. I've been doing a podcast for 4.5 years. I've never met a fan in person on this side of the border. My in-laws don't care about what I do. They don't understand it. My family supports me, but they're not into this as much as possible. Right. So it does feel alone a lot of the time. Yeah. I know I'm not alone because the viewership is there. So that's great. But everybody feels that way. Regardless of how many podcasts you do, you'll feel alone in your field of study because it is a lonely field right now. And we're still facing the stigma of people that just cannot wrap their heads around anything. People that are not creative, just simply cannot get there. So for them, it'll be a lot more devastating when this closure happens or when a big global event like the Phoenix Lights happen. They won't be able to handle that. Those are the people we got to watch out for the most. I think religious people will handle it a lot better than those people, to tell the truth. I think somebody who's spiritual can be open to that, but somebody who's just mentally blocked, we all know, like, CEOs and psychopaths of big corporations, they can't wrap their heads around this stuff. And those are the people, personally, I don't really care if they do, but the general population should know, because there's nothing the government could do to stop it. Nothing. We could shoot them down. That's if we catch them. But if they decide to show up and get you in the middle of the night, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing they could do. You can't call 911, right? So it's an individualistic, I would say even deeper than just your physical body. It has to do with your spirit, who you are as an entity that is affected by this. And that's the biggest, scariest part of the phenomenon. I think that the government won't even broach for a long time is the spiritual aspect to it. Let's just admit that they're here, they're in the water, in the sky, and we'll break the news in of how deep this actually goes in people's lives later on, right?
Yeah. Well, you're right. And for me personally, this creates a great deal of anxiety, which, can be managed to some degree and stuff. But I personally have had some fluorescence show up, which is just high strangeness. I don't know what it came from. I don't have any memory of anything, but like you said, your life goes on. Nobody else cares. It's just with you internally. And you're thinking, well, should I care about this or should I not? And by the next thing you know, 4 or 5 weeks have gone by, but it's still there underlying it. And that's for me, that's so minimal to somebody who maybe have been abducted or had some other big trauma going on. So how
Yeah.
people can manage to live their daily lives with this and just try to ignore it is incredible.
But most don't. To be fair, a lot of people end up in divorces. They lose their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They lose their jobs
That's what
if they step
happens.
forward
Yeah.
and mention anything. And you got to think, like, how terrible is that? Like, imagine if the Me Too was like that, that any woman who spoke up got her life wrecked, lost everything. And the people at
Yeah.
B never lost anything. Right. So it's like, this is exactly the same thing. It's a violation of not only your rights, but yourself as an entity, your freedom to be an entity.
Right.
Are you really free? Because when they show up, they numb you down. They do what they want. Are you really free? And that's when I was saying, are we equals? Is it that they do that
Yes.
to protect themselves because we're a lot bigger and we are violent as a species? Or is it that, no, you don't get to partake here, lights out? So that there's so many questions in this. And the more we delve into this, the more you're like, man, why did they do that? Like, I can't, it's alien to us. So it's, it's a hard one to grasp.
Yeah.
Do you
I think
think
this
that
is, go ahead, Tara.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
just said, do you think it is alien, or do you think some of this is humans as well that are doing the abductions?
Well, interesting enough,
Question.
but there's many cases where people have seen military personnel in the rooms with them during medical procedures. People in full uniform standing off to the side. They're there to observe somehow. So it's very interesting. It's okay, well, they know what's happening to the general population because the people in the DOD are having the same experiences as the general population. Let's not exclude them here. People in the military, in the Air Force, even we've interviewed so many people in the CIA or military that's like, yeah, they wake up in the middle of the night and there's 3 of them in my room. Okay, so that means you're not excluded, right? So that's the scary bit, is saying, okay, it doesn't matter that you work for so-and-so. It doesn't rule you out of their playbook. So that's the interesting part. And yes, there's a lot of humans being seen, or human-like entities being seen. Even the Travis Walton case, he said that it was a tall man, blonde, blue eyes. It was me, guys. It was me. I was on a ship and escorted him out. And you're like, okay, so people mention these Nordics or whatever quite often. So they have I can't toss anything out now. I have to look at everything. Okay, there's a possibility of that. Now I have to go investigate that too. Like, it just keeps piling up. It's like books, you got your to read books, and I have like that for my my cases or things I want to research. It's like, that's gotta have to go on a back burner, right? So
actually, Tara's question just tied right into mine, which is, how often with these abduction cases do you hear of multiple types of species in the abduction?
Well, the typical one are the grays. So the grays, the short grays, the tall grays, they call them the brown grays because there's no other word for them, but they're brown looking. But they're always described the same, sort of like almost a robotic form of movement. Like, they move very precise. I'm trying to do it myself for people listening.
The robot, when we
robot.
Everybody do the robot. You at home, do the robot right now. Come on,
But
everybody.
they move very, very weird and very odd. And then there's the tall ones. And the tall ones tend to be like the ones that are overseeing things. Like the doctor will normally be a taller gray than the shorter ones. But they all work together, and so they don't speak. Like, you could hear them supposedly. The one case that I'm really fascinated by, Matthew Roberts, I think I had on recently, and he was aboard the Nimitz when the incident happened. He became so obsessed with the Nimitz that he manifested them somehow. They showed up in his room, right? And I was like, okay, so if you think about them enough, you obsess about them enough, do you call them? Like, what happens? But his story is similar to another incident that took place in the 80s for another gentleman in Australia, where they wake up with a female on them in the middle of a sexual act. And they're like, what's going on? But the female's very beautiful, pale, looks kind of human, but you can tell by the eyes it's not. So if this happens to males, I mean, I don't hear it often, but it's happened to a couple of people across the world, and females are getting impregnated as well. Although the pregnancies don't really normally last past 3 months before the embryos are taken again. But what's the purpose of that then? Right? Like, why the breeding program? And much less like, they don't want to shock you, or they make you think that it's a dream somehow, but it's not, it's real. The one gentleman in Australia said he bit her because she put his head in her breast because he was waking up, and he bit her, and she got off of him, and there was another female, and he could hear them telepathically talk to each other saying, something's wrong. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And the other lady said, okay, let's leave. And they left. And he's like, it's broad daylight. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon. He was napping. So everybody says that this happens at night only, that it must be related to sleep paralysis. It is not true.
That's not true.
People get taken during the day, in the morning, they go to work. It doesn't matter. It happens. So that's a scary bit, I think, of this phenomenon, is the abduction, because there's nothing anyone can do.
Okay.
And
You
if you
just
got your
answered
best
my
person-
question. I'm like, is there anything anybody can do?
No,
You just said
supposedly,
there's
yeah.
nothing anybody can do.
Nothing,
It's
nothing.
just
You're going
nothing.
along for the ride, unfortunately. It's like somebody spiking your drink with hallucinogenic drugs. You're just in for
Right.
the ride now, baby. Yeah. So, but that's a scary bit. And also the missing hours, like I was talking about Susan Alloway and the Jackrabbits. After that, she woke up 9 hours later
Wow.
in a diner 360 miles away from where the abduction happened, in a different state. How? Like,
That's mind blowing.
it is mind blowing. And how do they know you're going in that direction? How do they, like, do you tell them? Do they know? Like,
Yeah.
it's the fact that the mind reading is the part that to me is so fascinating, because it's like, can you, like, even when we're talking about the craft that I saw going over the houses, can they listen into your thoughts or what you're doing at the time you're doing it? Like,
Well,
it's
they must. And you hear that with cryptids or Sasquatch as well. Like if you're
Yeah.
armed or, they know. Somehow they know.
it's like a
So-
threat. Like, they know you're going to be a threat, right?
Right.
Or that you have a photo of a camera to take a picture or something. They seem to know.
Well, somebody once said, have we ever thought that maybe Bigfoot is just blurry? That's why the pictures always come in blurry. It's just a blurry mess. I was like, yeah, it's probably true.
Probably is true. So I don't know how much time we have here, maybe 8 minutes or so. But so what do you think is going on with the congressional hearings and Grush and taking one step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing? Jason, what do you think's happening and why now? What's going on? What are your theories? Because I know you interview so many people that are much more knowledgeable about this than I am. And
No,
what
you're
have you
very
learned through that?
knowledgeable. You're very knowledgeable.
Well, in certain areas, just like all of us, we all have our own.
Don't
little
discredit
niches,
yourself,
but when
Katie.
it comes
You're
to
good. You're good.
I don't keep up on that as well as I should, because it's like almost weekly now where something's going on.
It's great soap
So,
opera.
Yeah, it is a great soap opera. And
But
what are
it's
your conclusions on this? What do you think? What do you
progress.
think is happening? Are we on a timeline of some sort?
Well, it depends. Lou Elizondo once led on a podcast sort of the indication that they're on their way type thing. Like, there's a certain time limit here, and that's why he was pushing it for it so hard. David Grush mentioned something a little to that effect too. They could be on their way. John Ramirez mentioned that 2027 they'll be here. And that could very much be the case. I don't know how this all works. I know that whatever activity is going on here is because they're here, but that could just be the vanguards. That could just be the people that were sent here to take care of things to begin with. And then the next phase of the whatever galactic plan they have is coming up next. But I think the biggest issue, even when you got Congress, you got Tim Burchett and his team trying to bring people. What is frustrating is that whenever they ask a question, the person says, well, that's not my department. I don't know that. That would be this person. The information is dispersed where they can't, it's like, who knows this? Like, can you get me this guy? Or, even the military.
Who's in charge here?
Yeah. Like, who do I, like, exactly. Like,
Nobody.
That's apparent, isn't it?
It's a Wizard of Oz. Nobody knows who's in charge anymore. But I would say that.
Oh, I know who's in charge. Hold on.
That's actually it. But the Air Force has a huge part to play in this. And you got to ask yourself, why hasn't the Air Force said anything? We heard from the Navy, we heard from NASA, but the Air Force, zero. And the Air Force is the one funding all these programs for reverse engineering. But why do they feel they don't have to answer? And Tim Burchett goes there to get some answers. And he looked at him right in the face and said, you're not getting it.
Right.
He's their boss. That's Congress. They're supposed to answer to Congress. And he looked at him and said, like, they're officially saying it's so big above your heads that we are not accountable to you anymore. keep paying and shut up, right?
That's
That's the
crazy.
mentality that they have. But I think we got progress. We need more whistleblowers. We need to protect the whistleblowers because a lot of them are saying their lives are being threatened. So if there isn't anything there, why are you threatening these people's lives?
Right.
If there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, do they want this to come out now, or are they like doing a strategy of saying, okay, let's just give them a bit, like 15% of the information and keep the rest just to appease them?
Yeah,
But
just like Richard Doty, you hide lies and truths, some truth, weave it with lies, confuse everybody.
mix it
Maybe that's
in.
what it is.
Yeah, spoonful, eat what you want, believe what you want. And it's causing division. Now, one of the things I hate about UFO Twitter is with everything going on, everybody's an expert. Everybody's a couch expert. They're sitting on their toilet bowls writing a review on something
They're
that an
golden
episode you
toilet.
did. Exactly. But to me, it's not equal weight. Like when you have Jacques Vallée on a radio show or a talk show, and then you got just some dude who doesn't believe in it. It's not equal weight. It doesn't, it's just an opinion. This guy's done all the research. Like
Right.
he's been out on the field. Like you guys been out on the field. You know what it's like. And somebody just a comment saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, well, why don't you get off your couch, put down the Cheetos and come and help out? And I think that's the biggest problem. Yeah, I love Cheetos.
Me too.
But that's the biggest problem in this is that it's not just, let's not just put it on the shoulders of Congress and government, but let's us take responsibility on this too. If they don't want to tell us, let's not wait for them to tell us. Let's look in it ourselves, right? MUFON's been doing the Air Force's job since 1969, right? That's true because since then they haven't done anything, and we won't hear anything from them. The Air Force is still quiet about this, which I think they're the main culprits behind all of this, but yet they're not being approached.
Do you think it's liability, Jason? I mean, if these black access programs were ever revealed or these hidden technologies, who knows where, maybe these ranches, they might be liable for some things. Maybe they just don't care at all. Apparently they don't.
That's crimes.
Yeah, it's
major crimes against humanity. Major
It
crimes.
is.
We have no idea how many. But to keep that secret in 90, look how much damage we could do in 1 year. Imagine 90 years of that. The amount of people's lives that got ruined, not just like financially, careers, divorce, killed, go missing. Just really aggressive cancers that come out of nowhere and kill the person within a week. Like, how is that possible? It's poisoning. It's weapons that are used against people. Keep them quiet, right? The scary bit is whatever technology they come up with, whatever weapons, alien weaponry they come up with, they're going to be used on us, not them. It's on us. That's where it's coming. That's why they want to keep that quiet. I want you to know what I'm planning for you, right?
Wow.
So that's the scary bit, right?
That is frightening.
Yeah. Like I said, if they show up and they say, look, we're going to teach you a different way of life, a different way of thinking, I'm all ears because our way's not working at all, right? It never has. So yeah, that's my thought on them.
Well, Jason, this has been a fantastic show. Captivating conversation. You're a joy to talk to about all this. And I know, I love the fact that your UAP studies, I hope you check out Jason's podcast, UAP Studies, because he's doing it for all the right reasons. And it's so refreshing to me to hear that. So thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being our guest. Thank you, Chanel in the back. Thank you for running everything. Thank you, Tara, for being here. Thank you, Bill Skywatcher and KGRA. And thank you to all of our listeners out there. And I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day tomorrow. Treat yourself to something nice. Enjoy the day and have a fantastic rest of your week, everybody. And we will see you guys next Tuesday night on KGRA. What's up? So take care, everybody. Have a good night.